I'm going through a divorce, and at the same time, I'm working on developing my spiritual path. If I would like to find a partner, how can I balance this with my spiritual path? Okay. Going through a divorce, trying to walk on a spiritual path, also wanting to find a partner. How do you balance this? Well, the same stuff we talked about, work and spiritual path, of course pertains to family and spiritual path. But here's really the key. If I'm going through a divorce right now, my energy, rather than looking for a new person, my energy really needs to come back within for a while. If you look at everything in nature, there are seasons, there are cycles. Hot season is followed by cold season, dry season is followed by rainy season, night is followed by day. This is how nature works. In our lives, there's also seasons and there's cycles. And if we've had a season, a cycle of relationship, and if I'm getting divorced right now, chances are the relationship was very dramatic for the last at least few months, if not several years. You don't go from peace and calm to divorce. It builds, it builds, it builds, it builds, it builds, it explodes, it explodes, it explodes, it explodes, it explodes. Eventually, there's a divorce. So what I'm coming out of is a long period of time in which my energy was in this relationship. Probably almost everything I thought about for a long time was connected to this relationship. In the beginning, probably I tried to figure out how to salvage it. Why isn't it working? Why are we not getting along? What else can I do? Has this happened? As it got worse, maybe I started finding myself thinking, how do I get out? How can I end this? Who knows? But if I'm going through a divorce right now, for a long period of time, my mental, emotional, and spiritual energy has probably been in that relationship. Living it, fighting it, trying to work it out, not succeeding, thinking about it, mourning it. There's been anger, there's been pain, there's been loss. I now need to give myself a little bit of fallow time. Anybody who does any gardening knows that if you want your harvests to be really bountiful, you need to give the soil some time in between harvests in order to regenerate itself. That's the fallow period. And so what I would suggest to this person is don't focus right now on trying to find a partner. Should your soulmate walk into your life, I'm not saying push them away. Sorry, I'm in a fallow period right now. But don't put any more of your mental, emotional, spiritual energy into a relationship with another being right now. Reclaim it and use it for your relationship with yourself. Use this time to rebuild your inner power grid, your inner tank, to re-nourish the soil of who you are. Because what happens in relationships, and when the relationship is good, it's very powerful in a good way. when the relationship is not so good, it's very powerful in a negative way, is we identify ourselves a lot based on our relationships. And we take cues about who we are from our relationships. So if the people around us say, oh, you are so wonderful, you're so beautiful, and the people around us are just so effusively grateful for us, we're gonna identify as that. If we know it's real, if we know they're not just doing drama, if it's really real, and people around us love us and appreciate us and support us, I'm going to take cues that say, I'm a lovable person. I'm a worthy person. Look, these people love me. But if people around me, particularly those whom I really care about, a spouse, a parent, these are the ones that are the most powerful. If these people say to me, you stupid idiot, you're this, you're that, which I can imagine, pre-divorce days, unless you're having the most amicable divorce ever, there must have been a period of, if not actual profanity, some criticisms. Some awareness of because nobody wants to take responsibility. Nobody wants to say, it's my fault this marriage isn't working. So we turn it around, it's your fault. I try so hard, I'm so loving, I'm so good. If you just listened to me, if you just were more compassionate, if you just were more caring, if you just gave more time, if you weren't so selfish, if you weren't so self-absorbed, then it would have worked out. So what's the message I get? I'm selfish, I'm self-absorbed. I'm not lovable. And it takes us a while to recalibrate that. I mean, anybody ever walk out of a situation with a friend, a loved one, a colleague, a boss, a teacher, in which you've been really badly criticized, really badly scolded, and you walk out of the room and it takes you a few minutes to just kind of even figure out how to put one foot in front of the other foot again, because your whole inner sense of balance is off. Like you walked into that room thinking about yourself in one way, and what this person has just told you, or the tone of voice they've used, has just completely pulled the rug out from how you thought about yourself. And it literally takes you a few minutes to just kind of regain your sense of balance. And if that's a loved one, and it's happening day after day after day, you can be sure it's impacting your sense of self. So don't jump into another relationship. Don't jump into, again, letting somebody define me. It's very seductive. Because if now I'm walking around feeling worthless and unlovable, God, it would feel so good to have somebody tell me I was worthy and lovable and beautiful. I mean, we yearn for that. But actually, in that moment, what the universe has done is given you an opportunity to find that awareness of worthiness and lovability in a much deeper place. Yeah, it's nice to hear it from people around us, but then you need to keep hearing it from people around you. And ultimately the goal is to know it inside so deeply that nothing anybody says to you changes your sense of self. That it would be the equivalent of me saying to this beautiful young girl, God, you know, that purple hair you've got is horrible. God, I really wish you would know how to, what to do with that purple hair. You have not brushed your purple hair properly. Didn't anybody teach you what to do with purple hair? Now, stand up for a moment. Stand up. Does this young woman have purple hair? Anybody? Purple hair? No. Okay. You can sit back down. So, since she knows she doesn't have purple hair, you can't see her, but she's laughing at me as I was scolding her. She's not taking it in. She knows. I don't have purple hair. Either this is going somewhere, or that Sadhvi's crazy because I don't have purple hair. It's not impacting her sense of self in some way. And so ultimately what the goal is, on a deeper level than just not having purple hair, is to know who we are so deeply. That unless that person is your guru, who can see things that you can't, or someone in whom you have a lot of trust and a lot of confidence that anything they tell you, A, is true, and B, is really only for your benefit, that they love you so much that if they're telling you something, it's just because, again, A, it's true, and B, it's for your benefit. Anybody else, our sense of self should be so strong that we're not shaken, that we're not dizzy. But the only way to get there is to find it within. If I go from relationship with you to relationship with you to relationship with you, what you thought about me to what you think about me to what you think about me, I'm never going to learn to be that source within. And that's ultimately the goal. And so while if you've got a stable marriage, by all means, hang on to it. Don't let it go just for the opportunity to have a fallow period. But should you find yourself relationshipless? Should you find yourself just after a divorce, just after a breakup? Consider it a gift from the universe into which something very, very full can come. The next relationship will come on its own. But right now, it's the time for you to have the relationship with yourself, because that's the one you're always going to have and you're always going to be with.